Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ner kitshanu b'mitzvotah v'tivanu l'chadlik ner shel Channukah. Oh, hey! I'm just lighting the candles for Hanukkah, laying the Channukah, which is the menorah for Hanukkah, which actually symbolizes the 8 days that the oil that was only supposed to last for 1 day in the lamps lasted for 8 days. And because of that, we actually eat fried foods for Hanukkah. And one of the best fried foods, and one of the most traditional fried foods, is potato latkes. So that's what I'm going to make you today. And you can make that part of your Hanukkah Sunday dinner.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Julia's Sunday Dinner. I'm Julia, and welcome to my wonderful little kitchen here in my apartment in Spring City, Pennsylvania. This week is the first week of Hanukkah. Hanukkah starts on Friday night this week, and this week I decided I was going to make latkes. Now, I always make latkes for my family, and so I decided, why not make that an episode here? And so, what we've got is a recipe that's been handed down to me from my mom, and it really was a recipe that was from my synagogue years ago that we just absolutely loved, and making it for years. So really, it's a time-consuming recipe, but it's relatively easy. So we're going to get started. It's a huge recipe. This makes loads of latkes. But you can cut it down in half, in quarters, however you want, and still get a great product. The recipe will be on the side. It's going to be linked on the side. It's actually in my cookbook, the Zion Family Cookbook. It's at zionfamilyfavorites.wikispaces.com, and you can get all different kinds of recipes there. But first and foremost, you can get this recipe right here, the latke recipe, which is great. Now, what you need is 5 pounds of potatoes, and potatoes are relatively cheap. White potatoes, it doesn't really matter what kind of potatoes you use, whether they're white potatoes, whether they're Yukon Golds, whether they're, Idahos. White potatoes work the best. They're best for mashed potatoes. They're best for this kind of recipe. So I suggest the white potato, just like this. They're easy to use, and they're not baking potatoes or anything. And you need 5 relatively medium-sized onions, like this. You're also going to need a couple other ingredients. I'll get to those later. But the first thing you need to do is you need to peel and grate all of these. Every single thing you see here needs to be peeled and grated. Now, as you can tell, I have a much smaller food processor than I really should for this recipe. So, I'm going to do this in batches. I'm going to do the potatoes first. Now, you have to make sure it's easiest to do this right into a trash can. Okay? Or if you have a sink that has a food processor or a food disposal, garbage disposal in it, you can do it that way too. Or you can use a garbage bowl, which works sometimes. But since I have a nice big trash can right here, I decided I was going to use this here. So, you get the point here. Almost done with this one. And I'm only going to show you one because, heck, I'm not going to show you all 5 pounds of potatoes. That would be insane to show you all 5 pounds being cut and taken care of. So you get all the eyes out, all the damaged spots, and we're good to go. Okay, now I'm going to just move this aside for 1 second, and I am going to bring my cutting board up here, and I'm going to cut this into pieces that are big enough for my food processor. Now I have, in the food processor, I have the grating blade on there. So most food processors come with one of these, or you can get it as an accessory. So, but be careful, they're very sharp. Anything in the food processor is very sharp. Now this doesn't have that big of a hole to put these down, so I need to cut it in 4. And voila. Put it right there and start her up. You're gonna get pieces that are, stuck up top, but that you can keep them, use them later or whatnot. But I got 5 pounds of these to do. Now, here's what you have to do. Once this fills up, if you have a food processor that's about this big, throw it into a bowl or a pot or something. This is the biggest container I have right here. You'll remember this from the chicken soup episode. So, and it's got nice cold water in there, and so that makes sure that these don't turn brown as quickly as they can. Now you see they are turning a little teeny tiny bit brown there, but I'm going to wait until I'm done every single one of these that can fit in here to throw them in there. And so I'll be back after that's all done.